Over the past 30 years, I've been devoting my life to animal rescues in the south of England.
If this booth collapses, we're both going to be in mighty big trouble.
Never has British wildlife been more under threat.
Run, Alex. He's going to slip.
People and animals are increasingly coming into conflict.
This is within a mile of the M25.
Ah, Struth. Oh, it was close.
After 16 years of Wildlife SOS on the television, this is our first ever series of Wildlife SOS online. In this episode of Wildlife SOS, it's a good outcome for our Canada Goose and for our slow worm, but the Cygnet is causing us huge concern.
When you reach a point where it can't go back to the wild, you say, actually, enough is enough.
It's a great start to the week here at Wildlife Aid because our Canada Goose with a bad leg is now ready to be released to the wild.
Big day for him now. I bet he's not going to be as easy to catch as he was on that day.
So easy to catch? Was it easy to catch on that day? I don't remember that. You maybe go get a
skill.
swan hook.
It was the skill. Okay. Who's going to get wet?
One of us is. Stop hissing. Stop hissing. Come on. Why are these ponds so wide? If they were about a foot narrow, we could get in quite easily. Hey.
See how good his leg is now.
You, look.
You remember me, don't you?
All right. All right.
Good boy. Good boy. He's so strong. But his leg is fantastic now.
We're going home. In the last episode of Wildlife SOS, we were called out to a family of 5 swans who were stranded in a garden. One of the babies had a very misshapen beak, which meant that it couldn't eat properly and was clearly struggling to survive as it was much smaller and weaker than its siblings. There and then we made the very tough decision to release the adults with 2 of the babies and to take the weakest Cygnet back to the centre in the hope that we could do something to repair the beak. After a more thorough inspection and x-rays, we think that one of its parents may have accidentally stood on it when it was very little, and so we decided to seek the advice of a specialist avian vet.
Well, we're a very long way from home. We've just driven 2 hours to come to one of the top avian vets in the country with our Cygnet. We're hoping he's going to work some miracles.
After a very brief wait, we were called by Neil Forbes, who's not only one of the UK's best avian vets, but he also has a huge amount of experience working with wildlife and completely agrees with the Wildlife Aid ethos.
If you've got a wild injured animal, for as long as you've got a decent chance of it getting back to the wild, you do everything you can. And my own view is, when you reach a point where it can't go back to the wild, you say, actually, enough is enough. This is a mandible, that's the lower beak here, and there appears to be a fracture here.
Sure.
So this side has continued to grow, whereas this side hasn't, and it's overlapped a little bit. We could put a distractor on here, so you put the pins in, and then after every few days you wind the wheel down to actually pull it back out, because almost certainly if we cut that, it's not going to spring back round straight.
No.
Because obviously this is grown. So it's something that would have to happen over a period of 10 days or 14 days. That bit should be relatively straightforward.
I thought I was only meant to be coming for a quick consultancy. However, to my surprise, Neil was keen to go upstairs and perform the surgery on the Cygnet right away. Whilst I'm in Swindon with the Cygnet, Lucy gets the honour of setting our Canada Goose free.
Well, he was getting really excited in the box as I was carrying down here. I think he definitely knows where he is, and I'm really looking forward to seeing him go. It's a beautiful day for it today. We've done a really good job with his leg, so here we go.
Back at Vets Now Referrals in Swindon, Neil is showing me how he plans to straighten out our Cygnet's beak.
This is obviously where the damage is here, so if we were to correct that, it will be a question of obviously plucking out the fur here, making a cut in the bone and opening the bone out, which would then let that come back
in
over a period of time to a straight line. And the thing that creates us a challenge is the width of that bone. Very, very little to play with. Bear with me a moment, I will show you our solution. This is where Heath Robinson or Blue Peter comes out. That fits in there.
Right.
And then we leave one of them in a fixed position.
Sure.
And the other one screw apart, and as it screws apart, it's moving the pin apart. And we'll fill this with acrylic and make it absolutely rigid, so it'll be safe and effective. The reason we're doing that is, firstly, the cat and dog one, the cheapest is £185. This is about £2.50. But more importantly is the weight.
Absolutely, yeah, sure.
We've got to have it as light as possible for Junior here to be able to cope with it. Yes, it could end in disaster because the bone is so fine, it's so thin, but it's this or the bird doesn't have a future. And from that point of view, I would say, actually, I think we have a workable solution here, and it would be a shame not to give them that opportunity.
Fantastic.
Although I'm thrilled we can take action now to straighten the cygnet's beak, I'm very concerned that it's a major operation for such a young animal. Weighing up the benefits against the amount of stress this all might cause the cygnet, I really am on the edge of wondering if we are doing the right thing or not. But right now, I'm just hoping it survives the surgery. Back at Wildlife Aid, Lucy is having a much less stressful time.
So it's been a week since we've been treating the wound on this little slow worm. You can see there's patches of her skin are starting to slough. When a slow worm sloughs, they don't slough in one go like a snake does, they just slough in patches, which is ideal for healing that little part of the wound. So the wound's all dry. She's doing absolutely great. She's maintained her weight, but the hardest thing to do when they're in captivity is to get the humidity and the temperature right, and the only way you can get it absolutely right is in the wild where she should be. So today we've decided to release her, so she'll probably go quite quick once she realises she's free. You can see she's already tasting the air. There's plenty of really nice bugs and grubs in there for her to eat. Oh, interesting, you can see she's actually rubbing the skin. That's amazing seeing that. I thought she was about to slough her skin. She's actually doing some amazing natural behaviour and rubbing it on these sticks and grass around her to help the skin come off, so she already knows what she's doing.
This surgery has been both intricate and demanding, and for such a young bird whose beak is still developing, Neil has to work very carefully. With the external fixator in place, Neil now braces the top beak with some special dental cement.
With this little guy, when we started off, this beak was over here somewhere. That's an awful lot better already there. The lower beak is going with it, so I'm actually really chuffed that we've achieved that amount in the full knowledge that actually we're going to be pushing that a little bit further day by day, with a view to everything healing within something like a 2.5 week period.
Although Neil is very happy with how the surgery has gone, for the entire journey home, the cygnet is extremely flat and doesn't seem like it has fully come round from the anaesthetic. So I take it straight to Lucy so she can check it over.
His heart sort of slows down and then speeds up again.
Is that just the journey and the stress of it?
At the moment, I don't think he's stressed. I don't think he's really sort of there at the moment.
Come on, fella, don't you give up. We've done everything for you. We've really tried. Don't like the way the eyes shut either. Come on, big boy, come on.
I was really hoping that Lucy would reassure me that the cygnet's condition was normal for a swan after surgery. But she seems even more concerned than me, so all I can do is put him in a quiet recuperation pen, not knowing what to expect.
Cheer up, don't start and I shall start.
Watch the next episode of Wildlife SOS to see if the cygnet makes it through the night.
He's had a fractured jaw at some point, but it's healed. Not very, it's not healed. That's infected as well.
That's probably why he's been struggling to eat.
Yeah, don't think anything's happened to him today. I think he's just been struggling to eat because of that face.